She berated me in front of everyone. Because you were trying to your husband!
Don't worry, Jack. It's like, he's clearly just delusional. If you want to have a flex, I'll send you some pictures. Because I'm not in the western suburbs in a one-bedroom shit house.
This episode was a dumpster fire. I'm sorry, it really was. It was a producer's dream in the sense that people were going off the rails. I think most of the people were doing it for clout. That way they have a storyline to go and get interviews on and get more clout so that they can get endorsement deals, they can be influencers or whatever else they want. Had anyone asked me halfway through the season who I thought was the villain on this show, my opinion might have been different. But sadly now, in my opinion, if you ask me to rank the top 5, what do I think? I think number 1 is Sierra. Because there was no need for her to come and say those things and then run out and leave, Awhina to try and clear up that mess. I think that was toxic. I think that was messy. I think that was vindictive, malicious, and it was terrible. And I hope people don't give her airtime because of that. And then number 2, I would have to say is Clint. The audacity for a 44-year-old man to be arguing with a 36-year-old man doesn't make sense. For him to be trying to compare, wealth and stuff doesn't make sense for me. And then Jackie and Lauren, I think they're two sides of the same coin. I think they are. I think this is what Clint likes, and this is why he likes being with the two of them. Who else? Number 4 is definitely Karina and Paul, because sadly for them, I think they're just as bad as each other. And I think fate knew they were not good for one another. This is why they were not this is why they broke things off. And they just needed the show to show them that they really were not good for one another, because they're just as terrible as each other. There's no one between the two of Adrian and Karina that you can say is better. They're just as bad. Who is my number 5? Maybe Adrian. But anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episode 39. Just before we get to the final episode of Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, if I could ask just 42 people just to subscribe so I can hit 5,000, thank you. Anyway, the producers love mess. They really do. Because personally, the start of this episode doesn't make sense to me. They have a success story. They have, a happy couple. The idea that they would start with Ryan, Clint, and Jackie is still baffling for me. It doesn't make sense, because I would have expected them to focus all their attention on Ree and Jeff as they are the happy couple, but they decide to introduce us to the idea or to the fact that Jackie and Clint are dating. And Clint is ecstatic, and for me, Jackie is no prize. So good luck to him. Anyway, we move on to the success story of the season, which is, the success story initially was, Jamie and Dave and Ree and Jeff, but apparently Jamie and Dave eventually split up. Anyone surprised? No. It was bound to happen, because I think Jamie was more invested in that couple than he was. Anyway, so you have Ree and Jeff. Ree and Jeff are doing amazing. I think Ree and Jeff actually viewed the experiment and used the experiment for what it was meant for. They failed to succeed in the real world, and I think this is because Ree comes across as an overthinker and Jeff comes across as very laid back, and I think this might have been one of their issues. This is why they were struggling to sort of meet each other in the middle. So the idea that they were able to come into the experiment, meet someone that they know that they're friends with, work very hard to make that relationship a success is amazing. And I love this for them, because they are the happily ever after of the season. I think the fact that Ree is also non-confrontational has done wonders for her relationship, and pair that with a man who's very laid back and doesn't like confrontation himself, I think has been good for them as a couple. So I love that, and I love the fact that they're still happy. Apparently Ree comes to Jeff's house very often. She uses the key. It seems she comes every day. I think they do live in the same town. I would just assume they're going to move in together, unless they want to wait until they are officially married, because I understand the Australian marriages are not legal. But I love this for them. I'm really happy for them. You have everybody else getting ready for the night, and Katie is back, and it's like, oh, it's lovely to see her. Anyway, you have Jamie. Jamie lets us know that she and Dave broke up because apparently once they left the experiment, she could tell that things were not right. And this man didn't seem to want to own up to the idea that he wasn't attracted to her or he wasn't interested in pursuing this relationship any longer. So she gave him an ultimatum. I think she gave him an ultimatum expecting him to sort of step up the same way she gave him an ultimatum in the experiment. But sadly, he didn't step up. He continued to sort of drag his feet, and eventually they had to break up. He, on his part, is thinking that, well, Dave is saying, things happened, but they broke up amicably and things are okay with them. Here's what I think. I think on his part, Dave must have thought Jamie was the darling of the season, and this is why he didn't want to break up with her, because he didn't want the negativity that came with that. I don't know where things went left, because when they did the lingerie thing, he seemed very attracted to her. I have a feeling whatever happened with the fallout with Karina and the girls might have turned him off. Whether he realized that, he was in way over his head and he would never have been able to sort of deal with Jamie once she was upset about something, and this must have triggered him to sort of say no. This is the impression that I get, that that's the moment he checked out, because everything else, there's no excuse for his sudden turnaround and sudden sort of change of heart. And then we have to just pet Karina. She's recovering. Oh, Paul really broke her heart. He betrayed her. And she's in this space where she's trying to rebuild herself and she's trying to adapt to life after Paul. It's like, girl, you were with Paul for 6 to 7 weeks. Don't make it seem like you were with Paul for years. You were 6 to 7 weeks with Paul. Out of the 6 to 7 weeks, it's only 3-4 weeks maybe that were good. The rest were bad. So the audacity to stand there and make it seem like you're the victim, I do not get it. She feels aggrieved. She feels this man betrayed her. He did a lot of things wrong, and she feels like there was no reason for her to stay in this marriage. And it's like, okay. You go to Paul. Paul, on his part, I sort of agree with Paul. I'm going to say that. If you have Karina's person and you're upset, I'm sorry I triggered you. But anyway, what I feel is this. At the end of the day, Paul knows he's a red flag. There's no question about that. But at the same time, the problem with Paul and Karina is Karina has sort of packaged herself into this victim that everybody empathizes with. So nobody is focusing on the bad things that she said in the experiment. Everybody has turned around and looked at the two and realized, that Paul is the worst of two evils. And so they've focused all their anger and aggression on Karina. But at the end of the day, Karina was snobbish when she said, Cleo, I didn't realize you'd go for that caliber. She was snobbish when she sort of called the rest of the girls mean girls. But nobody's calling her up on that, because at the end of the day, Paul is a bigger, red flag than she is. They're both red flags, and I'm happy that they chose not to make it work. I'm someone who roots for love, but that relationship was very toxic and would have led to a sort of terrible end. You have Awhina and Adrian. Awhina and Adrian said no on final vows, and then suddenly changed their mind and decided to have one more night because Adrian was smiling at Awhina, and so Awhina got excited and she decided to give it one more night. Once they left the experiment, it seems Adrian went back to his ways and she sort of carried on with hers. And I remember seeing it somewhere that apparently the girl with the red hair who came to the family meetup went on a trip to Bali with Adrian after the experiment. So I don't know whether that's the reason why they didn't work or whether it's anything else. But at the end of the day, they were never going to work because Adrian was interested in the here and now. From the moment he found out Karina had a child, he checked out. He liked her. He liked the fact that he was attracted to her. He liked the fact that she was stunning. But I don't think there was anything else. For him to say, a relationship is about compromise and good communication. You were not a good communicator because the two of you had this elephant in the room and you refused to address that large elephant in the room because you wanted to bury your heads in the sand and continue with your physical affection for one another. And so for you to say that, Awhina did this, you were just as bad as one another, if not worse, in my opinion. I think Adrian was actually worse, but that's just me. You have Sierra and Billy. Sierra is saying, she doesn't believe that she should have apologized. She didn't need to apologize to anyone. At the end of the day, she went out on a dinner date. Well, not a dinner. She went out for dinner with someone, and that, shouldn't let her feet be held to the fire. And it's like, Sierra, please sit down and keep quiet. Please sit down. I do not owe anyone an apology. After all, I have a lot of things to say. So she is coming in wanting to paint Awhina as the bad guy. I don't know whether it's because she's realized that, Awhina has got some sort of positivity behind her or whatever it is. So she's decided to paint Awhina in a negative light because she's saying Awhina was saying Adrian is very dumb, Adrian is this, Adrian is that. I don't know how his business, survives. And it's like, at the end of the day, that has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with you. Why would you want to come and say that? What makes you be the almighty, the one that should say anything about that situation? That's not your situation. Please keep it stepping. You have, the initial first work clips end with Jackie and Clint. What do I think about Jackie and Clint? I think Clint is in for a rude awakening. I think Clint has got a thing for young girls that are sort of a bit off kilt, in the sense that Jackie, we all know Jackie can have or has toxic tendencies. So the idea that this man is willing to forego that tells you something about him. Because at the end of the day, Lauren had toxic tendencies. I don't know what his exes prior to the experiment are, but it's not like he's gone in and he's found someone like Rhea and is focused on Rhea. No, it's been 4 weeks since the experiment. I have my money on the fact that Jackie and Clint were already pursuing this. Jackie went into the experiment with the intention of living with someone. It didn't matter who it was. She was going to live with someone. The guy I think she thought if she liked the husband, she would live with the husband. When it didn't work out, she then decided to go with Rory, her second match, and that didn't work out. And now she's lashed on to Clint. Clint is excited. They feel like everybody's going to be happy for them. Well, good luck to him. Good luck to him, because he's going to need that, Clint. He's going to need it. When Jackie decides to go off, then he's going to realize what he's in for. Jackie feels like, Ryan is going to feel some type of way about it. He's not going to be happy for them. Ryan, on his part, says he sort of heard rumors about it, and he spoke to Jackie and he spoke to Clint, and they both said, no, we're not seeing one another. So he believes that if it is true that they're seeing one another, then it's going to be a betrayal, because at the end of the day, they looked him in the face and said, no, it's just a rumor. There's no truth to it. And I can't wait to hear what he thinks or what he says when he actually realizes that it is true. So you have the experts talk about everyone coming back for the reunion dinner. Obviously, they get to see who's still together and who's split up. You'll also get to see, who's successful. And you have everyone getting ready. Well, everyone in the car is going for the dinner party. And the only couple that's still together is Rhea and Jeff. And Rhea and Jeff are the first couple to walk in. And the experts are not surprised, because we are all not surprised. Rhea and Jeff were very steady. Rhea and Jeff possess an emotional intelligence, plus the background of being friends before they came into the experiment. Yes, they had dated before, but they had left things on good terms, and they were able to sort of create a friendship, which was then able to be rekindled back into a romantic space. So I don't think anyone, including the experts, was surprised that they're still together. Next in is Awhina. Awhina walks in on her own because obviously she and Adrian split. That is not a surprise to anyone. So she looks good though. Billy follows up. He is happy. Billy left the experiment after he and Sierra things went left. So he's in a good space. He's happy to be there. And then he brings up that apparently Sierra was having communication with Adrian and was sending really nasty messages about, Awhina. And it's like, why? What has Awhina done to her apart from reveal the fact that, Sierra lied to her? She spent the whole day with her and didn't tell her about going out for a meal with Adrian. So what has, Awhina done to deserve this? I do not get it. Well, Sierra's coming in wanting to spoil things, Awhina, not knowing that Awhina already knows the nasty things she's been saying behind her back. So I hope once Sierra tries to sort of upstage Awhina is able to reveal her for who she is, and everybody's able to expose her, because at the end of the day, she's the one who did the wrong and is trying to use somebody else's wrong to sort of cover up her own. You have Jamie walk in. Jamie is single. Obviously, she broke up with Dave. She's excited. She's in a single girl era and self-love. And I love this for Jamie. I know it's going to be hard, but she's going to bounce back. Tony walks in on his own because he and Morena broke up, which is not surprising that he's there on his own. It was just a matter of time. He's happy, he's excited, he's giddy. So I love this for him. He is followed by Ash. We all remember Ash, whose husband made the derogatory and racist comments. And so she walks in on her own. Is anyone surprised? No, because her husband walked out because he felt betrayed that she revealed his nastiness that he said on camera. Next in is Elliot. Elliot has the redemption arc that a lot of people that go on the reality TV want, because he was the villain to suddenly he's loved by a lot of people. Even on his TikTok, he is loved, and it's surprising. Elliot is followed in by Beth. Beth really didn't have much of a storyline towards the end. Her and TJ, there really wasn't much. They tried the Jamie and Dave arc, but it still didn't leave as much of an impact. Beth is followed in by TJ. TJ, nobody really makes any sort of sign that he's present, who is followed in by Veronica, who even makes less of a splash than anyone expected. Katie walks in. She says she hasn't heard from Tim. She's still single as single can be. I hope she finds her person. I really do, because I want this for her. Adrian walks in, he is full of himself and he's busy telling himself that Awhina is going to be, smitten as soon as she sees him. He's going to work his charm. And it's like, this is the problem that Adrian and Awhina had, in the fact that they really were physically attracted to one another, and that was it. Nothing else. And it seemed they worked together very well physically, but sadly there was no substance to it, and this is why they crushed and they burned. You have Karina in the car talking about the fact that she's very anxious about seeing Paul. She's very nervous. And it's like, Karina, don't please. Some of the way you reacted on the show doesn't show someone with self-esteem issues. Your self-esteem issues are very vocal, but they're not visible. That's the problem. People with self-esteem issues never shout out that I have self-esteem issues. They just keep quiet. And then eventually people notice and ask them, and then they say something. Whereas to you, it's, hi, I have self-esteem issues. My name is Karina. Anyway, she walks in. She says she's nervous about seeing Paul. Paul walks in after her. He is, on cloud nine. He's happy to be there. Part of it, I agree with Elliot that he's trying to save face, because he's telling people that he and Karina are not compatible. They are not compatible. They should never have agreed to do this experiment together. If they're going to do this experiment together, they should have done this experiment as friends, because their situation is totally different to the Rhea and Jeff situation, and this is why they crashed and they burned. You have Jamie having a conversation with Billy and Jeff, and she's revealing the things that apparently Sierra was saying. And it seems Sierra rage texted Adrian, and Adrian, I think, forwarded the messages to Awhina, who then sent it to the rest of the group to say, can you see what this person is saying about me? And so Sierra is coming in, she feels aggrieved because how dare Awhina say this? Afina's a horrible person. So she's coming to set the whole place alight, and she doesn't like Awhina. And it's like, girl, you're just trying to save face. You really are. I can't wait for her to walk in with whatever bombshell she thinks she's going to drop, and whatever mic drop moment she hopes so. I think Sierra is trying to save face. That's the impression that I get. So you have Dave walking on his own, and he just confirmed my hypothesis that Dave is trying to save face. Dave is trying to get a positive edit. This is why he came in and he ran straight for Jamie, gave her a hug, and then said, oh, what we share is something that's very strong. It might not be romantic, but it's a very strong bond that can never be broken and that should be protected at all times. No, he's looking for a positive edit. That's it. And I'm going to stick to that. You have everyone sort of mulling over the Sierra situation, and she walks in, and you could hear a pin drop. Nobody stood up, nobody cheered, nothing. And then she walked in with this face like a slapped, because from the moment she sort of got out of the car, she wanted to make this entrance. I feel like she knows she didn't get as much airtime as anybody else, and so she's looking for a way to get airtime. She then got her drink, sat next to Adrian, and then Awhina got in her feelings because she's like, this is disrespectful. Why would you go and sit with Adrian, knowing that before you left the experiment there was an issue with Adrian, which I get. So for Awhina to walk across, and then eventually they said, they started throwing jabs with Awhina asking, Sierra, why are you upset with me? What is it about me that grates your nerve? Because I saw the messages that you're sending Adrian. I went home to see my son and you were busy texting Adrian. Why? This shows that the thirst is real. Why was Sierra texting Adrian, knowing for a fact that whether it was a legal marriage or not, knowing for a fact that Adrian was with Awhina, she had no right to text this man. And so for her to come in saying, I want to blow it up for Awhina, I'm going to throw her in the mud, I don't believe all the allegations she made. I believe that Adrian must have grown up or must have some sort of special needs or must have grown up being labeled something at school. And this is what Sierra has grabbed hold of and has run with it, because Awhina keeps saying, I told her that you're treating me badly. I told her that you're treating me badly. Some of the things she says are true, some of them are not. For Sierra to try and be so malicious and sort of vindictive, it doesn't make sense. I feel like Sierra came in knowing that she had a bad edit, she had very little airtime, and she decided to sort of have a storyline and look for clout leaving the show, because everyone is going to want to know, what exactly did Awhina say to you? When did she say it to you? I don't have time for that nonsense. And I think it was just pure lies and speculation. I don't believe it. Sadly, Adrian was triggered by the word dumb. And so he got in his feelings and he wouldn't even listen to what Awhina was saying. She tried to sort of get him to listen, to see reason, but he was sort of stuck in that place whereby he said, how dare she say my business won't be successful? How dare she says I am dumb, this, that, and the other? Which is really sad that if it's not true, I really hope Sierra comes back and apologizes, because there's no need for all that nonsense. You have Ryan walk in. Everyone is excited to see Ryan. I'm excited to see Ryan. I actually like Ryan. I actually do. I think had he been paired with somebody else, maybe someone like a Ree, someone very laid back, or someone with sort of Katie's personality, he would have been a better, or you would have got a better edit. But the person he was in a marriage with was very toxic. And so this is why he got the edit that he got. He sits down with the guys and people start asking him, have you heard about Clint and Jackie? And he said, well, when I heard the rumor, I sort of confronted them and I asked them, is this true? And they both came back at me and told me that no, it wasn't. So if it is true, then I'm going to be, very upset, because at the end of the day, they both looked me in the face and said, no, that's a lie. But then he reveals that Jackie during the experiment was asking, how would you feel if I dated a 43-year-old? I think Jackie came on TV looking for her sugar daddy, or looking for someone to look after her and let her be a kept woman. And so when she saw Clint and she realized how much money he had and sort of what he came with, this is why she was more interested in him. I don't think it was because of the romantic aspect, but I think it was more of what he could provide for her, more of what he could give her, or what he could allow her to do. And so I think this is why Jackie is with him. You have Jackie in the car with Clint and they're both telling each other, you're perfect, you're perfect. And it's like, this man doesn't know how much of an idiot he comes across as. Seriously, he doesn't. For such an intelligent guy, for such an accomplished man, for him to be with someone like Jackie, it doesn't make sense. Given the edit that she's had, even the post that she's posted on TikTok, I don't know how he can be with someone like that. I really don't get it, and I can't wait to see their entrance when they walk in. Oh my God, I'm going to eat my words. So you have Clint walk in, and as soon as he walks in, Ryan grabs him for a chat. And Ryan is saying to him, the room has been talking. I need to have a conversation with you because you and I are mates. So I need to know, are you and Jackie seeing each other? And he says, first off, I'm not your mate. And it's like, Clint is just as horrible as the girls that he likes. We all thought Lauren was horrible, but Clint is the common denominator, because at the end of the day, he said the same thing when he was with Lauren. Now he's saying the same thing when he was with Jackie. For him to say we're not mates, and Ryan had to call him out and say, when you came into the experiment, I was the first person to befriend you. You and I spoke a lot of times, and you even offered me to come for a golfing match. And so for you to say we're not friends, I don't get it. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. And it's like, please, this man doesn't have cojones. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry. He likes girls that are able to control him. He likes girls that are able to contain him and sort of get him to do whatever they want him to do, because there's no justification for why he would need to be that horrible to this young man. This man hasn't said anything. Ryan is not perfect, but show him some respect. At least show him respect in front of, before everybody else finds out. Pull him aside and just let him know. You can tell Jackie's telling him what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. Jackie walks in and everyone is just calling her out. Hey, Jackie, Jackie. So they want to know. Everybody asks Jackie and Clint, what's going on with the two of you? And and immediately the producers decide to call for dinner because obviously they need more drama to continue to the dinner table. They don't want everything to be finished at, the cocktail hour. So I can't wait to see what happens with that mess, because at the end of the day, there is no need for that. Clint thinks he got the prize. Yes, he's got a younger model. Yes, he's got someone who's beautiful, but that's it. Jackie is just going to be as horrible to him as she was to Ryan. I am willing to bet money on that. I am not rich. I don't have money, but I am willing to bet my money on it that Jackie is going to treat this man the same way she treated Ryan, and I can't wait. The producers are messy because at the end of the day, as soon as people were cornering, Clint and Jackie to say, can you tell us the truth about what's going on between the two of you? They immediately sent the waiter out to say dinner served. And then to have the audacity to sit Jackie and Clint opposite Ryan doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Because I think the producers were after drama, and so they were sort of trying to place people in areas where they knew the drama would sort of implode. Anyway, you have TJ. TJ suddenly has found his voice. So he asks, we want to get the elephant out of the room. Jackie and Clint, can you tell us what's going on with the two of you? Ryan sort of chimes in as well because he wants to know the truth. He has been waiting for this for a very long time. So he wants to know what is going on between Jackie and Clint. Jamie asks them, and then eventually they own up to say, yes, we are dating. After the experiment ended, about 2 weeks later, we started communicating, and then, we've just started seeing each other. And it's like, we as viewers are being told this is 4 weeks after the experiment ended. So you mean to tell me in 2 weeks, they've already decided that Jackie is moving in? In 2 weeks, they've already cleared a space for Jackie in Clint's wardrobe. Make that make sense? And for this 44-year-old man to be arguing with a 36-year-old guy doesn't make sense. There's an 8-year gap between Clint and Ryan. For him to say to Ryan, Ryan is upset that Jackie's gone from a Kia to a Ferrari, and it's like, seriously. People with money don't brag. People with money are not braggadocious. They say wealth whispers and rich jingles. And this is it. Because the audacity to say, he's got his 1-bedroom apartment. He is 8 years younger than you. He might not have come the same route as you. You do not know where he will be in 8 years when he's 44, just as you are today. So the audacity to brag that suddenly you've won the prize with Jackie doesn't make sense. Jackie likes the idea of having one over on Ryan. Jackie was upset when Ryan said he wanted to leave the marriage. This is why she fought very hard to win this man back. And once she won him back, she got rid of him because she said no one leaves her, she leaves them. And even in her confessional, she was excited that, Ryan is grieved because, at the end of the day, he still wanted me and I left him. And it's like, no, that's not it. I feel like Ryan is justified. I agree with Jamie that Ryan is justified in being upset because he came back from homestays and said, I'm done with Jackie, I want to go home. But Jackie insisted that they could still salvage their marriage. She worked very hard to get him to take her back. And then once he said, okay, you can come back, then she decided, now I'm going to leave you because nobody leaves me. So the audacity for this man to sit there and brag that, I don't live in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Westerns. I live in it's like, seriously, a grown man like yourself, a rich person like you. I am going to say Clint is worse than Lauren and Jackie combined. He's a very toxic personality and he likes these toxic girls because everybody was taken aback when he said Jackie's moving in with me because they were like, how long have you two been seeing each other? Ryan gave an indication that, they've been seeing each other since halfway through they've been exploring something since halfway through the experiment. Ryan is justified to be upset because at the end of the day, even in his interview that I saw on TikTok, he said that Clint sent an inappropriate message to Jackie whilst they were still married or during the experiment. So the idea that suddenly they're together, I don't get it. I think Jackie likes the idea that Clint has money. I think Jackie likes the idea that Clint will allow her to do and say whatever she wants to do. And this is why she's with this man. Do I think she's hopelessly in love with him? No, I agree with Billy. This is a fake relationship. And sadly, Clint is going to wake up one day not realizing that going on reality TV wasn't the best idea for him, because if he has money, he should have stayed his butt at home. He didn't need to come to the experiment. He should have stayed his butt at home, played with his dogs, played with his money, and he would have been okay, because the edits that he's got from the show are not the best. And I can't wait to see what happens when, you know, they meet up with the experts. I wish that he and Jackie hadn't come. I think they were persuaded to come. I think Jackie wanted to come so that she could rub her relationship in Ryan's face, but I don't think this was a good idea for Clint, because because none of his edits in both relationships have been the best. He's come across as someone who's very malicious, someone who's very vindictive, someone who's very braggadocious, and someone who's easily manipulated by these girls for reasons best known to him. I love that everybody celebrated Rhea and Jeff, because Rhea and Jeff are the example of what can happen for you on Married at First Sight if you and your partner put your all into it. So the idea that everybody cheered them on and was cheering for them and was appreciating the fact that they got what they came into the experiment for. Everybody else might not have got what they came in for, but at least two people found what they wanted in this experiment. That's amazing. You then have people turn around to Jamie and Dave. Dave is trying to still put a positive spin on it, because he's saying, Jamie and I, we realized that it wasn't going to work, and so we're going to continue to be friends. We really tried, but it didn't work. And I love that Jamie called him out and went, no, we're not going to put lipstick on this pig and call it a princess, because at the end of the day, you said you didn't have feelings for me. You said we should go into the real world, but you didn't put in the effort that I needed, and you still were not developing feelings for me. And this is why I ended up giving you an ultimatum. And you had Billy ask, so what happened when you gave him the ultimatum? And Jamie said, well, he just kept quiet. And then he said, well, if that's what you think. And this is what I think. I think he got the ick after the fight at the couples retreat, and then realizing that if he sort of dropped things with Jamie, you would get a negative edit. I think this is why he decided to pretend that things were working, and this is why he's come back trying to pretend like things are working, because he doesn't want the backlash from the fans saying, why did you string her along? I think Jamie would have respected him had he turned around and said to her, I'm not developing feelings and I want us to go, and the two of them would have left. Whether producers forced him to stay or not is one thing. Whether he was serious when he came into the experiment, I do not know, because apparently he applied to another dating show before he applied to Married at First Sight. And so whether he was someone who was just looking for clout on reality TV, or whether he was someone who was seriously looking for a marriage, we will never know, because at the end of the day, it seems he didn't put his all into his marriage with Jamie. Yes, he pretended like he was attracted to her. Yes, he enjoyed himself, but something gave him the ick, or something happened that turned him off, and he was never turned back on. And instead of being honest with Jamie, just saying, Jamie, I've tried my best, but I don't see a future for us, he kept pushing and pushing and pushing until Jamie had to realize on her own that this is not going anywhere. And so she pulled the plug, and he said, oh, well, we've pulled the plug, let's go. And so I'm so upset that he didn't feel the need to apologize to her. Jamie stormed off and all the girls followed her, because I think at the end of the day, people know that Jamie is going to be one of the breakout stars from the show. So they need to follow her so that they can get some sort of airtime. Otherwise, they won't. I love that she had her closest friends. It seems she was very close friends with Awhina, especially after the situation at the couples retreat with Karina. So I love that they're still friends, and she was able to have people console her. So you have Karina and Paul. Paul reveals that, everybody knows that Karina said no on final vows. He was heartbroken. And then after a few days, he took time out to think and realized that they were not compatible, because in his opinion, he feels, yes, he's done several things wrong, but she has also done certain things wrong. And I stand with that. I really stand with that. I believe in holding everyone accountable for their actions and not just basing on someone that is your favorite, because this is what seems to be happening with the producers and the experts, because they all seem to take Karina's side. And when Paul tries to speak up, then they say, no, he's trying to cover up for what he did. He is wrong as well. Yes, Paul is wrong. Do not get me wrong. He is wrong for punching the wall, the door, slash door. He is wrong for, revealing. Well, I don't think he's wrong for revealing a secret at the end of the day, because I feel if he had told her that, if they were dating in the real world and he told her that in the real world and he revealed it, it's one thing compared to her saying it on the show. Because at the end of the day, the producers were bound to find out whether he confided in someone and that person ran to production and told production. We will never know. So that secret was never going to be a secret that was going to be kept 100. Because I even said this about Jackie when she took her telephone, but that producers are going to push her to reveal it, and eventually she revealed it. Nothing that happens on the show can ever be a secret unless producers say it's going to be a secret. And for him to go on the date, he's not the only person who went on the date. sadly. He's not the only person who went on the date, but somehow his situation has been made worse. I don't get it. At the end of the day, we had Karina. She made the comment about Cleo. She made the comment about the girls during the couples retreat. And then she threw a tantrum when she was told about couple partner swap. So the idea that everyone is shocked that Paul says Karina can be very jealous, I don't get it. We all saw her cry. We all saw her refuse to go to TJ until after a couple of hours. So the audacity or the idea that everybody else has chosen to selectively forget about that, I don't get it. The fact that Karina was being sarcastic. When Paul tried to be sarcastic, it was a problem. But when Karina was sarcastic, it was not a problem because she was in her feelings. And that is what I don't like. You then had Awhina and Adrian. They had a conversation. Sadly, Awhina is saying what she said and Adrian is not willing to hear it because she refused to repeat it to the group still. Because Adrian said, Sierra came in and she sort of said something and that hurt his feelings. And Sierra by then had stormed out because I think Sierra expected people to sort of turn against Awhina. So when they didn't turn against Awhina, she realized that, whatever she did didn't work. But sadly, Adrian is now holding on to the idea that he's been told he's dumb. He's been told that his business will never be successful. Apparently, this is something that he's heard all his life, so it's triggered him. Awhina keeps maintaining, I said you hurt me. I said you hurt me. Adrian is in his feelings. I've never said anything disrespectful. I've never said anything bad about you, so I don't understand why you would say that. I wish they'd both apologized. I understand what Awhina said when she said, if he wants me to be the villain in his story, then that's fine because he's the devil in mine. They had a physical attraction, yes, but sadly, that could not translate to an emotional connection because of the fact that she had a child and Adrian was stuck on that and couldn't move from that. And sadly, they didn't bring this problem to the experts to get them to help resolve it because had they brought it to the experts, maybe they would have found out, no, we're compatible, no, we're not compatible, and left sooner rather than later. It's really sad. It really is sad that, you had Sierra throw a dynamite and then run off and leave, Awhina to try and clear up this mess. I don't get it. Even when Awhina was asked, what did you say? She continued to say, all I said was, he treated me badly. I didn't say yes to half the stuff he's saying. And she refused to say that he's dumb, which tells me that she didn't say that because this is something she doesn't want on camera being said, unless she said it. And then now she doesn't want to come out on camera because at the end of the day, if Sierra had evidence, she should have brought it out just as the text messages were brought out. I think Sierra was trying to save face and that's it. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 38. Bye guys.